Welcome back to The World According to Mike Graham. Coming up, my apology of the week. But first, here's a deep dive into politicians and social media. The man who is supposed to be the most powerful man in the world, Joe Biden, President Joe Biden, decided he might go onto TikTok and prove himself to be down with the kids. Let's have a look.
Chiefs or Niners?
Two great quarterbacks, hard to decide. But if I didn't say I was for the Eagles, and I'd be sleeping alone. My wife's a Philly girl.
Game or commercials?
Game.
Game or halftime show?
Game.
Trump or Biden?
Are you kidding? Biden.
I'm joined now by Andrew Eborn, who's a barrister and a futurologist. Andrew, nice to see you.
Lovely to see you.
You're a man that likes a bit of AI, I'm told.
Absolutely.
You like a bit of social media as well. But it doesn't really work for politicians, does it?
Well,
I mean, every time they try and do it, they end up looking like Joe Biden did there. And you're thinking, if you can stay standing up straight, you'll be doing well. And if you miss one of these answers, you'll look like an idiot.
Well, I think that's right, absolutely. But I think it would be negligent for any politician to ignore the power of the Gen Z, 40% of Gen Z, which is people from the age of, about 16 to about 34. Basically, 40% of them use TikTok more than they do for any other social media.
Yeah.
And you're looking at that sort of principle. So in order to appeal to them, you've got to go where they are. But the important thing is you've got to speak their language without forcing it.
Well, exactly. That's the thing, because the problem is that they might be looking at you and they might think there's a funny little viral clip that goes for about a minute.
Yeah.
But they're not going to watch a lot of it, and they're not going to spend a lot of time doing it. And they might not even know who you are.
Well, that's the interesting thing, because it's all about awareness. And actually, if you look at the demographic, it's the same demographic, exactly the same as something like I'm a Celebrity.
Yeah.
So you look at how many people, which the majority of those are the same Gen Z people.
Right.
And this is why people like Nigel Farage and people like Matt Hancock did so well, because they basically try and show people they're real people.
I mean, I looked at TikTok for a while because apparently quite a lot of people watch me on TikTok.
They do, love you.
Watch my show on TikTok. But I couldn't get into it, so I left it alone. You know, I'm too old-fashioned for TikTok, and I think a lot of people my age would say the same. So the same goes for politicians. But let's have a look at Grant Shapps trying to get Gen Z to use trains.
Why not take a trip to Edinburgh to take in the sweeping views from Arthur's Seat? Or if it's sea and sand that you want, well, head to Cornwall with its stretches of beautiful sand and crashing waves. Or visit the Lake District, the land of dancing daffodils and full of love from Wordsworth's paradise.
I mean, that's actually quite funny.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if he wanted it to be funny, but I mean, you know, it's a bit lame as well. And Grant Shapps is a sort of comedy figure, isn't he?
He's a wonderful comedy figure, and I love all that sort of stuff. Put the fun into dysfunctional. What I also, there's a better one of him as well, which is him doing a Grand Theft Auto style TikTok video. And it works. I think from that point of view, there are people who get it right. But the key is, like anything, you've got to work out who your audience is and what their content is. It's great. It's actually essential, I would say, to be on TikTok.
I mean, the thing is, I talk to young people, right? People might not think that's true, but I have members of my family who are actually quite young. And I would say, generally speaking, they're reasonably aware of certain issues that go on in life, but they don't know individual politicians. They just don't. And if you walk down a street and ask people even who Keir Starmer is, a lot of them don't know the answer. You know, but they'll know who Taylor Swift is, and they'll know who won the Super Bowl, and they'll know who Ronaldo is, and the sort of people who are, you know, top at social media, who are right in the sort of the maelstrom of TikTok, are more likely to be people that they understand and watch, aren't they?
And you're absolutely right. And what's happened, you see the Swiftie effect of something like the Super Bowl. They've got the record audience as a result of her impact.
Right.
What you need to do, however, is make sure you fit the message to the medium.
Right.
So what happens, behind the scenes, it'd be fascinating if Joe Biden, who previously said you should ban TikTok, what he should do is show behind the scenes, there's him getting ready to be president. That would be really fascinating for people.
The reason they banned TikTok is it's owned by the Chinese.
Well, that's the thing they're worried about.
And they don't allow anyone to use it in the White House. So what the hell is he even thinking doing it?
The reality is...
Has he forgotten he said that?
Well, I think he has. We can remind him. As I always say, if any product is free, you are the product.
Yes.
Data is the new currency.
Yeah.
And if you're happy to let your data go to anybody, obviously it's in Chinese hands and so on and so forth. The reality, however, is if you make sure there are security measures in place, and you can do that, use the medium in the right way, but use it to get the right sort of message across.
But I mean, Joe Biden looking like a doddery old fool is not going to convince anybody he's not a doddery old fool by doing it on social media.
To be fair, I thought he was okay in that video. I think it was about 8 million
Well, he didn't fall
views.
down, and he managed not to forget any of the answers. But you know, let's have a look at Trevor Holden. We're taking it down from the President of the United States of America to some bloke from Norfolk Council. Have a look at this.
Your passport, your driving license, you get the gist. Hop online to see the full extensive list. Make sure your vote counts, so bring your ID. Looks like this card with a little photo of me. If you haven't got this identification, apply online for your voter authority certification.
Jesus Christ.
Glorious.
I mean, most people looking at that would think it was a spoof, wouldn't they?
Yeah, and I think that's the reality. You don't need to have a meme; it's already there, isn't it? You work on that.
That's
principle.
dreadful.
And that was not.
I hope he
good,
didn't waste public funds on that.
Hey, down with the kids.
You know, I mean, I don't think any child or a teenager or first-time voter would go, "Oh, I know. Having seen that, what I'm going to do now is get my certification, and I'm going to go and vote."
I think he should certainly be certified. I think that was an extraordinary choice.
Bizarre, very, very odd. But anyway, Andrew, thank you very much indeed. Andrew Eborn there, looking at why politicians, and particularly local politicians, should stay the hell away from trying to be memes on social media.